President Muhammadu Buhari launching the Central Bank of Nigeria Anchor Borrowers Program as well as dry season rice farming in Kebbi State as part of the economic diversification drive. 28 months after the launch, rice farmers in Nigeria increased to more than 11 million, producing over 17 million metric tons of the commodity per annum. As a result, rice import bill has been drastically cut down by over 90%, saving for Nigeria millions of dollars in foreign exchange. Critical stakeholders in the rice value chain, comprising farmers, processors, and distributors, were in the State House to formally say thank you to President Muhammadu Buhari for unlocking the potentials of the rice subsector of Nigeria's agroeconomy.
Sincerely and categorically say that there is no adjective that is strong enough to thank you for what you have been doing to agriculture and by extension to Nigeria as a whole. You are aware, Mr. President, before 2015, the rice we eat in Nigeria is an imported rice. And luckily for us, God, in his own way of doing things, he brought you into power. And today, from the declaration you made in Kebbi State in 2015, precisely 17th November, today, the rice we eat in Nigeria, directly or indirectly, is almost 95% local rice.
With this, the country will save over $300 million through export substitution. These are real. Mr. President may wish to consider and, if deemed fit, approve an establishment of a 2-year, 24-month, 40 billion rice support fund, where the millers would produce 10 million units, bag of 50 kg. Each bag is sold at 15. Millers will draw down 5,000 naira from the rice support fund. This means the miller will sell the rice to a wholesaler at discounted price of 10,000 per bag. This will enable the final consumer to buy the rice at a maximum retail price of not more than 12,000 naira per 50 kg. This price will effectively enable Nigerians to compete with the heavily subsidized imported rice. The wholesaler distributors will be provided with a concessionary single-digit loan to enable them to take this discount because they are complaining the investment is high for them. The government has to make heavy investment in the seed improvement, land development, irrigation, and mechanization.
We would like to appreciate you for giving us the opportunity. You have done extremely well where others have failed, sir. We know very well if you have taken this stride for a popularity purpose, you couldn't have achieved this tremendous achievement, sir. Rice production is a very lucrative business in Nigeria because Nigerians consume a lot in rice. Every family eats rice every day. So if not for your resilience, for you to have taken this measure, we know we'll still be struggling in importation of rice today. We are happy with the report we had yesterday of our foreign reserve going to 46 billion, which is a very good achievement to this administration. If Lake Rice will be able to push out smuggled rice in Lagos and the metropolis, why not other states? Sir, what you have done in rice shouldn't be a thing that should be put aside. Please, we are begging you to add more to your effort, because if we could be able to go back to where we are coming from, it's going to be a disaster. A lot has been invested in the value rice chain. We are also appealing to you, maybe through the CBN and commercial banks, if they can come up and avail us with less interest rate loans, so I can be able to participate actively in this rice business. The 20-something%, 28-29% that has been availed to us by our banks is hitting us so much that we can not be able to find our feet in the rice chain business.
Mr. President, I congratulate you because your dreams have been realized. Through the Anchors Borough program, where you asked us to accompany you, myself, the governors, Honorable Minister for Agriculture and other ministers, you told us to accompany you to Kebbi State on 17th of November 2015 to launch the Anchor Boroughs program as well as the dry season farming in Kebbi State. Through this launch, Mr. President, what you have done is to set a focus that is actually spreading and burning like a Hamatan fire in Nigeria today. As at February 2018, Your Excellency, 270,000 farmers, smallholder farmers, across 32 states of Nigeria have benefited from close to about 59 billion naira disbursed for 10 commodities, namely rice, maize, soybean, wheat, cotton, cassava, groundnut, poultry, fish, and cattle. Today, rice accounts for over 80% of total funding that we have provided at the Central Bank of Nigeria to close to 250,000 rice farmers in the 26 states of the Federation. Aside from the Anchor Borough program, Your Excellency, which is meant for primarily smallholder farmers, we've seen the likes of UMSA Rice expand their milling capacity from 75,000 metric tons per annum to 195,000 metric tons. We've seen WACOT establish a rice mill in Kebbi State with a capacity of 120,000 metric tons. We've seen Labana Rice expand its mill from 115,000 metric tons per annum to over 260,000 metric tons per annum. From the eastern part of the country, Costaris Rice also was established with a capacity of over 40,000 metric tons per annum. And shortly after we embarked on the visit last year, Costaris came and said they wanted to be doing all year-round farming and they needed funding not only for the mill but also for irrigation. We did provide the funding, and I'm saying that from this year, Costaris will be doing all year-round farming for rice in Nigeria. And we would like to seize the opportunity to also encourage others, because for Nigeria to be truly self-sufficient in rice production, we do not have a choice but to engage in all year-round rice farming. From Lagos State, only about 3 months ago, they came to Central Bank and accessed about 10 billion naira to import their own rice mill. And I'm told that before May, the mill will arrive, and then rice will begin to be milled from Lagos. Aside from the smallholder farmers, we've also extended extended support to some private sector companies who have come into the rice business, not just for milling, but also in rice farming, and also talked about Costaris. Today, Costaris has been approached by even governors from Kogi, governors from Niger, to begin to do what they are doing in Anambra, thereby spreading the revolution to their states. Under the paddy aggregation scheme, because at some point we found out that it will not be appropriate to just find rice farmers producing rice, paddy, but yet cannot be sold. So we, at Central Bank of Nigeria, put in place the paddy aggregation scheme, basically to mop up rice paddy during the harvest. When prices are low, you directed that in 2018 the output must double, not should double, must double, and that CBN must provide all the needed funding to support this initiative. We are working with everybody along the value chain, the farmers, the paddy aggregation, the millers, the state governors, and of course I could hear even the rice distributors also asking for support. All we'll do, and we're happy that you are here today and you can see that this is all about our country and about Nigeria. We stand ready to provide all the funding. But there are challenges. Smuggling is the biggest threat to the survival of the local rice industry in Nigeria. And it's not just about rice. It's about smuggling of poultry. On a monthly basis, close to 1.5 million or 1.5 billion poultry chicken is smuggled into Nigeria on a monthly basis. This is very, very dangerous for us in the country. And if you ask, the Minister of Agriculture will tell you that this poultry that is being imported into Nigeria is preserved with formaldehyde, which is also very poisonous for our people. We can produce this poultry in Nigeria, and we would need the support of the agency of government, relevant agencies of government, to combat this menace of smuggling. What this does, by you not helping us combat this menace, is that we lose jobs. There are a lot of people who are unemployed. But by combating smuggling, you provide jobs for our people. We reduce restiveness in Nigeria. We'd like to beg all the agencies and appeal to them to please give support to the efforts of government. Smuggling activities have also resulted in unsold stock, just like the rice millers have said, and that is why we're also calling on the distributors to please shun imported rice. I repeat, we will give you the needed funding, but funding that will be directed to purchase locally made rice so you can sell to Nigerians.
One of the statutory functions of Nigeria Customs Service is suppression of smuggling. Therefore, Nigeria Customs Service, being a responsible and responsive service, has taken the issue of rice smuggling seriously, having identified the dangers posed by it to the economic well-being and health hazard it poses to Nigerians. To reduce the menace of smuggling to the barest minimum, Nigeria Customs Service has with all seriousness taken the underlisted measures to curb infiltration of rice and other goods in the country. The service has been able to identify smuggling routes and warehouses with details of notorious smugglers at selected border stations, waterways, creeks around the country for ease of targeting. The application of appropriate sanctions to officers and men who compromise, ranging from dismissals, termination of appointments, to reduction in rank, to serve as lieutenant to others, is in progress. The deployment of 50 new Hilux vehicles into our patrol duties, which was approved and the money released for the purchase, is a welcome development and will equally assist us in our anti-smuggling operations. Also, approval and release of funds for the purchase of another 70 new Hilux vehicles for the National Joint Task Force, which comprises Nigeria Customs Service, Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, National Agency for Food, Drugs and Administration and Control, NAFDAC, Standard Organization of Nigeria, and the Presidential Committee on Trade Malpractices, which is in the offing as the procurement process is ongoing. Signing of Memorandum of Understanding between Nigeria Customs Service, Benin Customs and Nigerian Customs on cooperation with regards to goods destined for Nigeria. The cumulative effects of above measures, sir, yielded numerous seizures of rice. From January to December 2017, 1,531 seizures were effected, while January to February 2018, that's this year, we recorded 190 seizures. Just last week, Your Excellency, the service recorded seizures of 20 trucks and 1 petrol tanker loaded with rice. On behalf of the Nigeria Customs Service, I want to assure His Excellency that Nigeria Customs Service will more than ever before intensify the anti-smuggling operations with a view to reducing the menace to the barest minimum. In this wise, we count on your continued support in terms of funding to enable the service acquire the much-needed tools, equipments, and other modern facilities, as this will go a long way to enhancing the performance of the service.
During the event, a memorandum of understanding was signed between officials of the rice farmers, millers, and dealers associations.
We do not diversify to agriculture industry to take people out of poverty, revitalize the rural economy, to eat what we produce, create food security, and conserve foreign exchange for vital manufacturing requirements to produce more goods and services and create employment opportunities. Mr. President, nothing directly affects more people and makes the lives of millions better than agriculture, spurring the rural economy hitherto forgotten. Food is available and cheap. Then your expectation was that thousands of people will be taken out of poverty. Mr. President, you far exceeded your dreams and your expectations. Today, millions of people have been taken out of poverty. Mr. President, when we say people, we are talking about human beings of flesh and blood, not statistics. You can count them. Also noteworthy to note, Mr. President, the beneficiaries are in their millions. But then there was no contract, Mr. President. There are no consultants engaged. There are no transaction advisors. And there are no cost of government. And therefore, there could be no fraud or scam or corruption.
If we sustain the momentum, as I'm sure we will soon be in the league of top rice producers in the world. DPID, which is the UK Development Agency, and USAID have independently confirmed that as of last year, our production of paddy is in excess of 17 million metric tons of paddy. The Presidential Task Force of Rice and Wheat had the honor of traveling across the country and have had the privilege of meeting some remarkable and patriotic Nigerians, different tribes, religions, and social economic backgrounds. It is evident that the majority of Nigerians are willing to support your vision, and they are doing so. In our interaction with them, one thing was very clear. They all shared a common love for this nation and a strong desire to see a Nigeria that feeds itself. They also show a strong commitment of demonstrating to the world that once we say we can do something, we get it done, thereby confirming our ability and capability.
Responding, President Muhammadu Buhari described as pleasing that agriculture is now a truly paying business, with many Nigerians moving into the sector.
I want to thank you for believing in this administration and our commitment to economic diversification and inclusive growth. Your investments, over 300 billion naira, are located in some of the most remote and indeed most forgotten parts of the country. And a significant percentage of these investments were made during the recession. This shows we have great confidence in our policies and programs. Our vision as a government has always been to promote and support programs that will bring investment to these rural areas. Not too long ago, our nation was predominantly driven by the rural economy. Indeed, Nigeria's backbone was built by the farmers. Somehow, we as a society abandoned the agricultural sector of our economy. Agriculture became an afterthought, and we forced our farmers into poverty. Thankfully, Nigerians have now woken up to the fact that it is an embarrassment for us as a nation to import most of what we eat, given the great natural gifts of our country. We have the fertile land, we have water and the manpower to feed ourselves. Therefore, we have no reason to import essential foodstuff. When we came in 2015, there were 13 rice mills in Nigeria. 12 of these were built between 2009 and 2015. This was an average of 2 mills per annum. But my team and I felt more could be done, and we put in place measures and policies to unlock the potential of this sector and thus increase the rate of investments. You will all recall that in November 2015, I was in Birnin Kebbi to launch the CBN's Anchor Borrowers program and also kick off the dry season rice farming. Since then, the Vice President and I have commissioned a record number of agricultural projects and programs, from rice to wheat to cashew to animal feed to fertilizer to drinks processing and many more. These projects are all over the country and worth billions of naira. Clearly, our policies are working. From your presentation today, you have shown that between 2016 and 2018, 8 new rice mills have come on stream. This is equivalent to 4 new mills per annum. Our paddy production and productivity has also doubled compared to 2014 levels. These achievements just confirm what we all know, that when Nigerians are committed to execute a task, it gets done. I am particularly proud of how the narrative has changed. Agriculture is now seen as a financially viable sector. Many Nigerians, especially the youth, are choosing agriculture as a profession. We have former governors, ministers, legislators, and major entrepreneurs moving from agriculture, not as a hobby, but as a viable business that will generate income. So when we have the youth, the enabling environment, and the entrepreneurs all coming together with the same vision, Nigeria certainly cannot lose. The signing of the Memorandum of Understanding today between the farmers, millers, and rice dealers is the natural next step. The coming together of these 3 stakeholders is a major step forward. Especially, I want to recognize the wholesalers and distributors who today, by agreeing to promote Nigerian products over imports, have demonstrated a welcome patriotism. Your commitment has guaranteed that 11 million Nigerian farmers will remain employed. And I want to assure all of you that this government will not let you down. We will also do our bit to ensure you are able to sell quality Nigerian rice at an affordable price. We are committed to providing quality inputs at affordable prices. Some weeks ago, I met with the Fertilizer Producers Association, during which I urged the Central Bank of Nigeria and the commercial banks to support agro dealers with affordable funding that will enable them to provide quality inputs to the farmers. This administration has been providing an enabling environment which led to the successes achieved to date. We shall continue to fight the smugglers at the borders and in the markets. We will also continue to invest in infrastructure to further lower the cost of operations. Therefore, I want you to meet with the Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development, Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development, the CBN Governor, the Minister of Finance, to discuss your proposal further. I am confident we can work together to develop an implementable program that will bring down the price of Nigerian rice to the consumers. I am impressed by the tremendous but understated contributions of the small-scale millers. These entrepreneurs must be supported. I am hereby directing the Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development to engage with the state governments, Central Bank of Nigeria, and the Bank of Agriculture to develop a support mechanism for these small-scale millers. I want to thank the Governor of Kebbi State for his unwavering commitment to the rice value chain and indeed agriculture as a whole. He has become a true ambassador for rural economic development. I also must congratulate CBN Governor for successfully managing the Anchor Borrowers Program. Your collaboration and commitment with other agencies for the development of agriculture is a clear example of the alignment between the fiscal and monetary policies. We must acknowledge the tremendous work done by the Nigerian governors as well as members of the national and state legislatures in pushing agriculture. I want to encourage you all to continue to push this agenda. This will be our legacy for generations to come. Our experiences today of clashes between farmers and herdsmen, or the challenges fishermen face due to global warming and other environmental factors clearly demonstrates that our quest for food security has a direct link to our national security objectives. The Food Security Council will ensure alignment and bring efficiencies. I want to assure all Nigerians that this administration is committed to Nigeria feeding itself. And from what I have heard today, this can happen in not too distant future. As I look forward to receiving your joint proposal, I wish all Nigerian farmers a very successful 2018 wet season. Thank you.
The fruitful interactive session was rounded off with a presentation of a certificate of registration to President Muhammadu Buhari as the #1 rice farmer in Nigeria.
This is the network service of the NTA.
President Muhammadu Buhari receiving King Mohammed VI of Morocco on a remarkably historic state visit. The two leaders later joined other members of their country's delegations where significant presentations were made on the economic potentials of the two countries. Consequently, over 20 agreements were signed between Nigeria and Morocco towards deepening bilateral relations. Prominent amongst them is the one towards boosting the production of fertilizer in the country.
Fertilizer Producers Association of Nigeria and the OCP of Morocco signed agreement on quick intervention on the supply of phosphate and development of fertilizer, where the country is planning to blend about 1 million tons of fertilizer this year to be sold to farmers at affordable price.
And this brought about the Presidential Fertilizer Initiative chaired by Governor Badaru Abubakar of Jigawa State and coordinated by the Chief of Staff to the President, Abba Kyari. The Presidential Fertilizer Initiative has, among other objectives, to deliver commercially significant quantities of affordable and consistent high-quality fertilizer at the right time to the Nigerian farmer. 15 months down the line, members of the Presidential Fertilizer Initiative, the Fertilizer Producers and Suppliers Association of Nigeria, as well as the financiers of the project, were at the State House to brief President Muhammadu Buhari on the journey so far.
Last year, Mr. President, we produced 500,000 metric tons locally. This year, our aim is to produce 1 million metric tons. We kept the price at 5,500. We brought it down from about 14,000 to that price. Mr. President, there is no politics in this. It is driven by the market. If you can afford to buy 1 bag, you go and buy it. If you can afford to buy 100 bags, you go and buy it. There's no patronage. There's no politics. It is driven by the market. All the government did, Mr. President, what your government did is to ensure all facilitation by agents has been done. If it's movement from A to Z to urea, Mr. President, is the NSA, who will be very supportive. If it's funding, it is the central bank. If it is NSIA, that's our sovereign wealth fund, they are the drivers behind this one. They are the private partnership of this. So, Mr. President, your agencies, the Office of the MD of Nigerian Post Authority, they are one of facilitators, and she is there. The Chairman of Railways is there. Mr. President, it is only when this program started, the railway trucks started moving to Funtua in about 30 years or 35 years. And people did them themselves. People thought this is impossible. And Mr. President, it has shown that you can achieve the impossible things at no cost to the government. There's no scam, there's no subsidy, there's no fraud. Mr. President, last year, our effort made sure that 60 billion of subsidy was saved. 60 billion naira of subsidy. Mr. President, we saved $200 million in importation. Of the 4 ingredients from which fertilizer is made, we have 2 in Nigeria. There's no other reason why we should import all of it. Today, we're only importing, 63% is locally done in Nigeria, Mr. President. And it's not a small achievement. They say Nigerians are poorer. It is true, Nigerians are poorer because there are less billionaires and less private jets. There are millions of farmers, Mr. President, who are rich, very happy, and looking forward to this program. But the poor beneficiaries of this project, Mr. President, they have no lobby groups, they don't talk to the Financial Times, they have no voice, they have no face. So this shame of importing food, we are putting an end to it. And this is the beginning of it. As you said, we should eat what we produce and produce what we eat. And this is the example you give. In the East, West, and the North, the ordinary person, who is not a number in Nigeria, is eating what he produces. And we have to go back to that. Mr. President, it's my pleasure to introduce this team. And I think everybody here, there are people in the private sector who supported us. The Governor of the Central Bank will speak to it. The banks, out of the 15 banks we contacted, only 3 are at it. And one bank, instead of doing it at 9%, came down to 4.5%. So everybody is making a sacrifice. I think this is the most important project that you achieved, and it is because of your direct involvement, because you believe in ordinary poor people, who actually are constituents anyway. So billions, hundreds of millions of people have been taken out of poverty. The rural economy is booming. Unskilled people in the cities are today laborers, and at any point, any blending plant you go to, it's a marketplace. There are laborers, there are people, women who are selling food, there are people who are selling cars, everything, Mr. President, hundreds and millions of people are benefiting. And I said, because the beneficiaries have no lobbies, they have no face, they have no voice, that is why he said you have not achieved anything. But to take millions of people out of poverty, to begin to create food security, Mr. President, is not a mean achievement. And I'm very proud to introduce this group, sir. Mr. President, you should be proud of the achievement. So even if nobody is saying it, today we're saying it, and the world should know that the best way to take people out of poverty is through agriculture and manufacturing. This country has benefited and lives purely as a service economy. People just sitting in the offices, oil and gas, banking, insurance, making so much money for themselves and leaving 180 million people behind. It is not possible to go on that list. And that is why they're here, and that is why people believe in you, regardless of what anybody says. And you support me, Mr. President. I'm happy to present this group to you, and the governor of Jigawa State, who is the chairman, will make his remark, Mr. President.
The chairman, Presidential Fertilizer Initiative, Governor Badaru Abubakar of Jigawa State, Agriculture and Rural Development Minister Audu Ogbe, Managing Director of Access Bank, and other stakeholders put into perspective the transformational impact of the project on the fertilizer industry, the agricultural sector, and the nation's economy.
Mr. President, if I am the chairman of this initiative, Mala Abakari was the chief whip. His hands-on project management and coordination were the key ingredient that leads to the successful implementation of this program. This project was less about how much money was spent and more about patriotism and collaboration. The organizations in this room all made various levels of sacrifices for the success of these projects. I would like to take this opportunity to thank them all for their excellent service to the nation, especially as the project happened during a recession. Just over a year ago, exactly 14th February 2017, the first shipment of the ammonium phosphate arrived from Morocco into Lagos. This ship carried 42,000 metric tons of cargo. By 30th April 2017, just 3 months from the commencement, we activated 11 blending plants in the following states: Kano had 2, Kaduna 3, Katsina, Lagos, Bauchi, Niger, Plateau, and Ebonyi have 1. And today we have 12 plants operating across the country, and we are expecting to have 12 more by the end of this year. Mr. President, my wish to note that the logistic operation for transporting the raw materials and products of this program include the use of abundant underused rail lines to destinations such as Puntua, Kano, Kaduna, Bauchi, and Enugu that were not being used for over 30 years, carrying cargo on 20 coaches per trip. Also, on the logistics side, about 3,333 30-tonner trucks were used, which is a massive logistics arrangement. The program created the following jobs. On road transportation, we estimate about 2,634 jobs for drivers, motorboys, and mechanics. On loading and offloading of trucks, we created an additional 49,995 day laborers over the course of this project. And for the blending plant operators, each plant employed between 100 to 200 individuals working in 3 shifts a day.
And I think the testimony coming today just shows that when you have a leader who is committed to an idea, nothing is impossible. Mr. President determined that this was going to happen. We had to cut down the cost of importation. That's what destroyed this country's economy. We can't thank you enough. Because before now, the Ministry of Agriculture was a house of scandals. Fertilizer, fertilizer, fertilizer. Coming out of the ports, leaving Nigeria for neighboring countries, all the subsidy we were putting in fertilizer was actually disappearing into other countries. So this initiative is formidable. And in thanking Mr. President, I want to say to you, sir, that people may say what they like about jobs. Recently, I heard that we lost 4 million jobs. Nobody has calculated the millions and millions of jobs created on the farms. Calculators don't ever look at that. But those who were loading trucks, those are jobs. And so this plan, as it grows, can only make us stronger. As soon as more dams and lakes are in place, you will begin to sell fertilizer all year round. and not wait for the rainy season alone. So, Mr. President, we thank you for your strength and support. And we thank all of you, all the agencies, and those of you in the private sector for your resilience. But one last request, Mr. President. We have to take one strong measure against our neighbor to the west. The smuggling is really, really compromising our capacity and our resolve. Too much rice, too much fake fertilizer still coming across the borders into this country. In spite of the memorandum of understanding we have with them, they are not listening. Maybe if we take one tough action, they will come and renegotiate the terms, because good neighborliness means reciprocity. We can't be allowing them to survive at our expense.
Successful as it was, I think 2018 will make it a child's play because it will even be more successful. And for several reasons at that. First of all, the central bank, apart from the funding structure that is being proposed, has come up with several other initiatives to ensure that agri and agro-related businesses are supported very, very, very significantly. The central bank is also ensuring that banks, no matter what they do, are seen to be supporting these specific sectors. So by the next time we meet, one thing you can take home for granted is the fact that you will see much greater levels of cooperation coming from our colleagues in the industry. For several years, Nigerians have been criticized as not living up to their full potentials. And I think one of the benefits you will see from this initiative is that it's going to help to change that whole narrative. We will ensure that this whole endeavor around food sufficiency is pursued to the letter.
The interactive session continued behind closed doors, where apart from taking comments, observations and suggestions on the way forward, a short video of some testimonials was also previewed.
The good news about the PFI is the PFI has created jobs for us. Direct jobs, when I mean direct jobs, there are people working in the factory, running shift. When you put combined together from the port to the factories, we're talking of 50,000 direct jobs. When we're talking the indirect jobs that has been created, we're talking another 70,000 workers. If you look at the trucking, on each batch we're moving 6,500 trailers. Translate to about 8,000 drivers and 13,000 motor assistant boys that PFI have created.
When they hear stories, say government, Buhari go put on for this place. You get contract with Buhari and bring come. So all of us in the pray for Rasha. May God help, because if God don't help us, He will help us. So once today, January when we resume work, February we come begin see motor they enter. They say the work don't start. Before we the work, we know they will get something we go manage with our family. It's very difficult for us to even eat. We go work. End of the day when you work finish, then go tell you say the money we did their hand, the rest is buy material, but then forget to keep the one where you go manage with your family. See they thank the president. This guy he try for us, not be only me. In short, all of us where they work for this place. Many don't come work, many don't go, many see they enter. And up to now, so we see they enjoy.
Mo ṣe ní ṣe Maurice ní mi náà ń bẹ̀rẹ̀ wà báyìí nísìnyí but iṣẹ́ tí mo ṣe lódà ní iṣẹ́ tí mo ṣe ń bẹ̀ nítorí pé tẹ́lẹ̀ àti sanwó owó school ọmọ wàhálà ní fún mi àti jẹnu ilé ìmọ̀ nira fún wa dúpẹ́ lọ ìjọba Buhari tó dá iléeṣẹ́ ìpadà fún wa nítorí àpọ̀lọpọ̀ ní wa àníṣẹ́ láti tẹ́lẹ̀ but lẹ́nu gbé tó ti bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ṣé kíní yìí ẹsẹ̀ lọ́gbẹ̀ẹ́ lọ dídé ẹni ní ìsìnbá àní workers at least àtó nǹkan bíi 200 workers báyìí tá à ń jẹnu rẹ̀ àwọn lòmíì láti state mi ò ti wá ó sọ àṣìṣe.
My name is Lola Fontua. I am a transporter. Before the initiative of this program, really we are in difficult situation. Before your truck get load, it is unless somebody buy corn or other goods, you transport it to him. If you get it today, you will stay about 3 weeks, even a month, without doing anything. But when this program came, so I'm very happy. Since it is exception, there is no day where we stop. Every day we have a business to do. Even if you look at it, to say you have come last 1 month or 2 months, you will be surprised by yourself. More than thousands of people were benefiting from this program. People are loading, people are uploading, trucks are going up and down. We received this one today, we received this chemical today, we received it. We have got no day where we stop here. So the initiative is very, very good. Thousands of people, I'm telling you. Even if you look at it here, you see even the food sellers, they are getting more benefit than before.
Orúkọ tèmi ni Zainab Idowu. Mo dẹ̀ tó ń jẹ ní Maurice, mo kọ́lé sí Maurice níbí báyìí. A dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ ìjọba bí Maurice ṣe bí iléeṣẹ́ Maurice ṣe padà wá tí wọ́n bó ṣe ti tẹ́lẹ̀ kò dùn mọ́ wa. Gbogbo wa pátá là ń dúpẹ́ ní bíbẹ̀ tó dábàá dáná oúnjẹ wa ń tán, à ń dúpẹ́ ní ọwọ́ Ọlọ́run. Kò sẹ́ni tó gbóúnjẹ kalẹ̀ àti jíjẹ ni o, nǹkan múmu ni o, oníkálukú ń tà ó ń tán, à ń dúpẹ́ ní ọwọ́ Ọlọ́run. Ọlọ́run ọba ọlọ́jọ́ òní yóò ràn ìjọba lọ́wọ́ o, tí òfin ní ti iléeṣẹ́ Maurice fún wa. Láwàrà wa àwọn dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ Ọlọ́run àti dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ ìjọba.
My name is Saleh Aigarba, living in Kaduna. I'm a farmer and businessman. I think so happy about it because it increased more farmers in Nigeria. Even if you go to market, if you don't have Buhari fertilizer, nobody will buy. All the other companies' market has been down because of this Buhari fertilizer. Every farmers are looking for it. What I want to tell government is that I hope the government will continue. I am appealing to the government to continue doing these programs, this fertilizer program initiative. I want the government to continue, not to stop in this way. If government continue with this, there's no hungry in Nigeria. There will be no more hungry in Nigeria. Everybody is running to farm now because of this government fertilizer initiative.
In his response to the various presentations, the highly elated President Muhammadu Buhari was emphatic that Nigeria's journey to self-sufficiency and food security is not negotiable.
I'm very pleased to receive your representations today. I'm extremely impressed by how the program has evolved since my meeting with His Majesty, the King of Morocco, 15 months ago. I have been monitoring your progress closely, but hearing it firsthand and seeing your faces today is truly a wonderful experience. In your presentations today, we have heard stories of sacrifices where all the stakeholders agreed that collective progress superseded personal interests. Firstly, let me thank the Governor of Jigawa State, who virtually relocated to Abuja to oversee the successful takeoff of this project. I must also express my profound gratitude to the people of Jigawa State for allowing us to borrow him on this very important national assignment, which indeed has changed the lives of millions of Nigerians across the country. I will also congratulate the members of the Fertilizer Producers and Suppliers Association of Nigeria for their remarkable work to date under the able leadership of your President Thomas Etu. You were able to produce quality products and make it available and affordable across the country within 3 months. Although you are all competitors in the past, you all put aside your differences and came together to deliver on this important program. So thank you for putting Nigeria first. You must continue on this track. I am impressed by the commitment of the Nigerian Sovereign Investment Authority to this project. You moved away from your comfort zone and push your capital into the rural economy. I always talk about the endless opportunities in the rural economy if only people would look with an open mind. I will urge you to continue on this track. Unless we create an inclusive and diversified economy, the progress of our country and its future generations will always be held hostage by external factors such as global oil prices. Special thanks to the 3 banks. I was told by my chief of staff that when this project started, over 15 banks were asked to participate, but only 3 of you answered this call. The 3 banks are United Bank for Africa, Unity Bank, and Access Bank. I want to ask you to continue to support the PFI expansion plans presented today. The government will continue to work and provide the enabling environment. Unlike in previous governments, where trucks conveying fertilizer would miraculously disappear in transit, in 2017, none of the 3,333 trucks that participate in this program went missing. I want to assure all participants of the Presidential Fertilizer Initiative that we will continue to provide adequate security so that this program and its positive impact on Nigeria is sustained. We are all aware of the great partnership between the Central Bank of Nigeria, the Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development, and state governors to ensure Nigeria feeds itself. I want to encourage you to continue on this track. Specifically, you must all support programs like the Presidential Fertilizer Initiative and work together to ensure we never return to the dark days of import dependence. I am pleased to hear that already the CBN is working with the commercial banks on programs that will further expand and enhance the Presidential Fertilizer Initiative. The rains are upon us. Farmers in the southern part of the country will be planting soon. We must all do our bit to ensure fertilizer is readily available. Therefore, the Ministry of Finance and Nigerian Sovereign Investment Authority should immediately engage the Governors Forum to conclude their orders. The Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development should conclude the planning for all government programs for 2018 season to ensure synergy. The CBN, working with the commercial banks, should ensure affordable capital is available to the farmers and agro dealers. The National Security Advisor and the security agencies should be ready to allow and protect the movement of all agricultural goods. Specifically, issues relating to end-user certificates must be prioritized. The Nigerian Port Authority should provide all the necessary support required to expedite the offloading and evacuation of the imported materials. And finally, the Nigerian Sovereign Investment Authority and Fertilizer Producers and Suppliers Association of Nigeria, under the able leadership of Governor of Jigawa, must ensure quality and affordable fertilizer is available to farmers at the right time. Once again, I congratulate all of you for the exceptional work you have done to date, and assure you that this administration will do all it takes to make sure this program continues to grow and impact lives. Nigeria's journey to self-sufficiency and food security is not negotiable.
And at the end of it all, the stakeholders were unanimous that the key to sustaining and improving on the recorded impacts of the Presidential Fertilizer Initiative, the multiplier effect on the economy, and preserving the fertility of the nation's soil is banning the importation of NPK fertilizer. NPK is believed to be simply destructive of the soil and in many ways poisons the food Nigerians consume.
Currently, we have produced 150,000 metric tons for this quarter, and by the grace of God, we will meet that demand before the end of the rainy season. We have the potash, will be arriving on Tuesday, the 6th, to the port for distribution. We'll make arrangement for the nitrogen, which is one of the raw materials that will be taken from Indorama in Port Harcourt. And the limestone from Edo and Katsina and Kaduna is readily available. 63% of this raw material is produced in Nigeria. It's only 37% that we're importing. And like the governor said, who is the chairman of the PFI, we have done a lot of cost savings. There is no subsidy. What we have done is a cost-saving model. That is the new model. We've just concluded the African Fertilizer Conference in Addis Ababa in Ethiopia. And surprisingly, all other African countries are trying to come and learn this PFI in Nigeria, because to see how they will substitute their own subsidy regime if Nigeria can remove subsidy and get fertilizer at an affordable price to the farm gate.